Just again, I don't understand this obsession with other
Obsession.
people's children.
It's about caring about
It is.
kids.
I'm talking. Oh my God.
It's
Get it
obsession.
together.
I have it together.
Hi, hello, ni hao, I'm Margar Jun and welcome back to another video. So it's been a very long time since I posted another one of these reaction videos. Today we're going to be reacting to Trans Conservatives vs Trans Liberals, Middle Ground by Jubilee. And without further ado, let's get started, shall we? It is a safety concern for trans women to share a female restroom.
Can the agreeers please step forward?
Before we begin this episode,
Not you advertising on my video.
It depends. Yes. So I think that to start it off though too is it's not necessarily saying that trans women. It all comes down to self-ID. When we moved into a self-ID process, there are a lot of people, there are a lot of men, just simply self-IDing into being trans women to utilize the female restroom and to harm women.
Or just be there. They're getting arousal from just being there.
You know, there was a photo or it was a video that went viral, I think like just 2 weeks ago, with some like whole man with a boner in the women's restroom. And there's just some poor woman filming it. Like, am I just supposed to like accept that this is here? So I think there's levels to it. I think that trans women who are actually trans, you know, we're talking gender dysphoria, transitioned, making the effort, you know, probably once you reach a certain point in your transition where you can actually assimilate within that space and not cause a disruptance, that would probably be the ideal time to start doing that, right? Whereas, you know, a cross-dresser who is emboldened to, in this current climate, say that they're trans, because now anything is trans if you say so, that person should probably stay absolutely out of women's restrooms, because you're there to get your rocks off and the women are there to take a poop and a pee. So it's not the same. And you know, I really empathize with women who, you know, have an issue with it. And I can probably hear some women commenting, well, how do I know the difference between a fetishist and a real trans person? It's hard. It's hard. However, that's the...
I would say that maybe it's a little bit easier, because the thing is that a fetishist will not chop their penis off or take testosterone. Take estrogen. It does make you lose the ability to pleasure yourself because you won't have a feeling down there anymore. So I don't think a fetishist would take estrogen in a sense, because, you know, a fetishist does get off on being an autogynephile or pleasuring themselves on women, being in the women's restroom. They wouldn't go to that extent.
See, I agree to an extent. Like, when you go to transition, this is a fairly universal experience, you know, once you get to a certain point of passing, that's about the time that you would start going into the other bathroom as opposed to not make the same sex uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Once you reach that point in your transition, a lot of things change, but, you know, you start to see things from another perspective. You start to see things from the perspective of a cis person.
Yeah. And I actually offer some solutions to this, because I believe the free market can handle all of this stuff, because in government-run and government-funded buildings, there should always be a third space for us to use. And I do. When I go to the Capitol and stuff like that, I always use third spaces. But I think that private property owners can make the rules for their establishment and figure out how to enforce those rules.
I mean, I wouldn't say third spaces for trans
exactly.
people.
Like, we're in a state right now where you have to allow anybody to use whatever restroom they want.
If you're a decent human being, you do what causes the least disturbance. So, for example, I filmed a YouTube video a few years ago where I entered a men's restroom just because I was responding to comments who were like, well, maybe you should use a men's restroom if you really feel like the way you feel. And so I said, okay, let's do it. Let's put a camera. And I was kicked out within seconds of the entire establishment, and it was a whole ruckus. So that's what I mean by, if you're a decent person, you do what causes the least amount of problems for people around you. And if you're, you know, a moral person, you're going to be conflict avoidant in general when it's something like that, right? It's like, what's the point of causing issues for anyone, especially if you're really just trying to pee?
Just
get it done.
Go in, get out.
Right.
I mean, I saw her video on this. I'm subscribed to Blair White, so... Yes! Like, I've seen a lot of people who, like, you know, who spite people out of spite, you know? Even though Blair can pass as a woman in society, the fact that people know that she's trans, used to be a man, they just call her, that's not a woman, that's a man, he. I saw like a person, I can't remember his name, but a person, but this person was like, I want Blair to use the male's restroom. I want Buck Angel to use the female's restroom. And you know, he also brought up the fact that there were 2 lesbians who were kicked out of the female's restroom because they were man looking. And I'm like, then that derails your whole point. If Buck Angel uses the women's bathroom, it doesn't matter whether he's biologically female or not. The point is that women would feel uncomfortable in that situation. And he also talked about how he would feel uncomfortable if Buck Angel went to the men's bathroom. The point is that you don't know. Like, so is it like every time you go to the bathroom, go to a public bathroom, you check out other people whether they are man or woman? Seems a little bit weird, right?
Not only is it weird, it is also an invasion of privacy for that person, which defeats the whole purpose of using a restroom, a public restroom.
And the disagreeers, please step forward.
I want to comment on.
Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
Voila, what do we have, ladies? A fucking clown.
Blair's point. The one thing I kept hearing through all of the nuance is passability. Because ultimately, when we talk about passability, it determines how you get harassed in the bathroom. Because honestly, if you don't look so passable or whatnot, people are going to say, oh, that's a man with a dress on, and then there's going to be discourse. But the reality of it is, honestly, who cares who's trans and who's cis going in the bathroom? You should be minding your own business, being able to pee and do your business in peace for the most part. That conversation around this man with a boner on or whatever like that, I saw that picture and I thought to myself, that's really a right-wing talking point and conservative propaganda because...
Okay, girl, bye.
A right-wing talking point. Yes, a real thing that happened. Right-wing talking point. Oh, sorority girls feel uncomfortable with a man in the bathroom. Right-wing talking point. Usually, most people just want to do their business and go. But the issue is that when you do your business, is that trans woman giving woman, or is that trans woman giving man? That's the thing. Because if that trans woman is giving man, of course that woman is gonna feel uncomfortable, because why is there a whole ass man in the bathroom, right?
Because that's their ideology.
How is it?
When
It
it
was a
comes
thing
to
that
trans,
happened.
I'm speaking.
I'm speaking.
Because that's their ideology.
How is it
When
It
it
was a
comes
thing
to
that
trans,
happened.
I'm speaking.
You know, she said that with so much authority. Like, I'm speaking. I almost thought that she was a man. Oh wait.
That's their ideology when it comes to trans. It's because conservatives have a basic level understanding of what transness is in the first place.
What is transness?
And with all due respect, I do not think any of you are basic, but they use you as the baseline to amplifying this propaganda.
How is it propaganda if it's a thing that really happened? It was caught on video. Like, it was an actual occurrence. It wasn't staged. It happened, and that's not the only. It's not an isolated incident.
But that's not enough for me to say, because actors can do that. Who knows? They could have been an actor trying to make a point against trans people. But
Honey, what?
But this has always been our battle. It's just like, from what I just heard you were saying with your talking points, because I did understand what you were saying. I just got the word passability out of there, and
Which I didn't say that word at all.
No, I'm saying that
He
word.
said passability.
I'm saying
She didn't say it. He
I'm-
did. And the
I'll
problem,
say
the left.
Okay, I can't.
The
I
problem
couldn't hear it.
is
I just couldn't hear it back there.
The
But no, what I was
liberals,
saying
the
was,
liberals always use the.
yeah. No, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying you said that word. What I was getting out of what you were saying, the one word that was coming to me was passability. This is Blossom saying it. And so passability politics is really a thing in our trans community, especially when we come to the debate of restrooms.
Yes. I mean, it's not politics. It's like, you want to fit in, right? Isn't that the point of being trans in the first place? You want to fit in. If the girlies say no, that's going to cause you gender dysphoria, isn't it?
I am confusion.
Problems in the trans community is the community by and large has seemed to reject assimilation and seems hell-bent on...
That's not true.
I think it's absolutely true.
Then why? You always say that you're trans, you are trans, you are trans, but you never shut the fuck up. You never like assimilate. You always want to talk about how I as a trans woman is so oppressed in this oppressional hierarchy. But when reality, if you shut the fuck up, you will literally have the same experience as any other woman, honey. You just want those oppression points, okay?
True, which is you see people talking about how you don't need to work on your transition at all to enter women's restrooms, and I think that that is so selfish.
That drives
So
me crazy.
it's so disregarding of women who may or may not feel
But
uncomfortable.
the trans woman experience is not monolithic, so who are we
I
to
never said it
police
was.
transness? Why are we policing other
What does experience and monolith have to do with women? Like, I don't give a shit about your experience. Honey, you could talk about how your dad left you at 2 years old and your single mom had to feed you and your 4 other siblings. And then you had gender dysphoria and oh my god, it was so hard, and you know, your mother kicked you out, oh my god, I have to go and do this. You tell this sob story and get the golden buzz from Simon Cowell. The thing is that I don't care. I don't give a shit. If you look like a woman, you get to look like a woman. I don't need to hear excuses.
Looking back on this, I also don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, then again, Blossom speaks a lot and says nothing.
people's trans
I'm
and
just
how they
listening
show
for women.
up.
They have to
But why,
protect women.
why are y'all policing though? That's what I don't understand.
You're using
Wait. The reason why they are policing is because they feel uncomfortable. They don't want a whole ass man in the restroom.
Words
It's
that we're not
policing.
using. It's not policing. We're listening
is
to
policing.
women, and if you have 50%, we won't say 50%, but if you have a large chunk of the population of women saying that they are uncomfortable with a certain thing, a good person leans in and listens.
So
They
why are
don't
you
just
not listening
reject
to
it.
other trans women, Blair?
I
think
do
that's,
all.
So wait. Yeah, so this isn't about assimilation anymore. It's about standing out in the crowd and getting oppression points. Because, like I said before, if you assimilate, you will be treated like a woman. But because you say that you're trans, now you get extra treatment. Because oh my god, so hard, gender dysphoria and shit. Yeah, so you get oppression points on top of oppression points. And you know, Blossom, you know, she likes to talk, and you know, I've seen snippets of this. She was like, oh, I'm a black trans woman and whatnot. She always likes to use that card. She likes to pull that black trans woman card like a Uno reverse.
All day and
Okay,
right
so-
now.
but you-
I'm never gonna get through this. Hi, I'm back. So like I said in the subtitles, I'm just gonna give you what I've jotted down on this little book which is okay, it's not that long. So now the one thing that Blossom talked about was the trans experience. And I don't know how she used it, because the thing is that she does not explain what this trans experience is or how this correlates to her explanation. But the thing is that she throws out trans experience and just expects everything to be okay with it, because and that's the thing, is that I still don't know what that means. So the thing is that she when Blair brought up the topic of how men can go into the restroom and prey on women, use that as an outlet for the disgusting behavior, she used trans experience as an to explain away.
The reason why I say that is because sometimes when we self-identify, some people can take advantage of that. And that is something, unfortunately, that we cannot control. But we have to combat it with facts, with research, and with the information that is presented in front of us. It seems like we're the ones that's teaching everybody else because we live in a predominant cis world. We're teaching them about us. And I just really think we cannot afford to be intellectually dishonest about our experiences as trans people.
The thing was that made absolutely no sense. And this is a theme throughout the entire thing, is that Blossom will make absolutely no sense. Blossom is manipulative in the sense that she'll use her black trans card, like I said in the reaction, she'll use it like a Uno reverse card and say that you cannot interrupt me because I'm black and trans, which is stupid because as if you have anything good to say. The whole entire stuff was rubbish. I literally watched through the entire 1.5 hours of stuff. You had nothing to say.
Period,
Andrew tried to intervene and say, like, basically she freaked out. She was like, you can't interrupt a black trans person when she's speaking.
Man, we live in America. People are allowed to be.
I'm speaking. Do not interrupt a black trans woman when she's speaking.
But she's okay with Alexander, a non-binary person, mansplaining gender dysphoria to Blair.
That's what I
don't
thought.
even.
Non-binary people
Non-binary people
are
fall
the
under the
trans
trans umbrella.
No, they don't.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe you could educate yourself a little bit on that.
I think I
and
could
maybe
educate
then you would
you.
figure out.
I think I could educate
you know
you,
what
right?
the reality is.
I'm
and what
sure
trans
there's
actually
a
means.
And I said it, bitch. Mansplaining. Another thing about Blossom, probably this is going to be the last time, is that Blossom threatened Blair. And I think we all know this is the highlight of the whole entire video was.
You need to calm down.
No, you do, honey.
Oh my God, someone get a Xanax for her.
Oh, keep it cute, girl. Keep it real cute.
Oh,
Your
that's
bodyguard's
inappropriate,
outside,
but the rest
keep
of
it
shit
real
isn't.
cute
Okay.
now.
Now, Jessica had little things to say, so I'm gonna gloss over that. Now, Sasha, on the other hand, is very, he's very like, oh, kumbaya, why can't we all just get along? And, I agree, but he's annoying. His voice is annoying. Shane weirdly has little to no eye contact, and I find that weird because when you talk to someone you're supposed to look at them. Now also Shane has a problem with passability, and that he talks about how for trans people they have no access to resource, they have no access to hormones, they have no access to medication, and like he says that what are we supposed to do, just pee outside? And my pushback onto this is that just because a poor person is poor doesn't mean he has the right to rob someone. So in this case, just because you have no access to hormones doesn't mean you have the right to make people feel uncomfortable. The second prompt, which was the military ban, was probably the worst prompt ever because most of the time, I think half the time, the trans liberals were basically just attacking Blair, questioning and basically like discounting Blair's contribution to the trans community.
Blair, have you ever worked directly with trans people? Have you ever worked directly?
I am right now.
No,
We're
directly
surrounded by
in
them.
services in terms of nonprofits and actually getting clientele.
She's not
That's my
grassroots.
entire
She
career.
is not a grassroots
Not
person
grassroots.
because truth be told, a lot of our community
What does that even mean?
is in.
Now, besides the interruption to focus on Blair's legitimacy, concerning the prompt, basically, the trans liberals basically said that my feelings take precedence over the power of the army and the sovereignty of this country. Not only that, Shane talks about how for example, there are many trans people who want to work in the army, but they get turned down, and then now they don't know what to do with their lives.
You guys have all forgotten the fact of what is the flip side for these transgender individuals that are signing up for the military and they're taken out, and that was their life plan. Where are they supposed to work and where is their employment supposed to be? Because
this does not happen to trans people. This happens a lot to cis people as well, where they want to go down a path and then plans just change and then they have to replan their entire lives all over again. Life's just like that. Get a helmet.
I'm too pregnant for this.
Now, to the very contested topic, minors. Should minors have top surgery? Should minors get gender-affirming surgery? And of course, my answer would be no. And for the trans liberals, they see it in a very narrow way, in a sense that these people did not have regret. And for example, Sasha and Shane said that they had binded for many years, to the point where they had spinal issues.
The reason why I'm not like no to that is because I feel like maybe someone's like 17 or something. I honestly feel like it is a really intense surgery, but I feel like if somebody's like 17 or like late 16 and like feels like it's right for them, I mean, like people are really different. I know for me, like top surgery when I was like 16 would have been like so good, and it would have literally like saved my spinal cord from like binding all the time.
And as somebody who has experienced top surgery and also waited quite a bit of time, a lot of severe damage actually was created to my rib cage that my wife, who is half my size, actually has the same size rib cage in the back as mine. And these are permanent damage to my body because I binded for about 8 years, and there's even still issues that I have with breathing and certain issues that I face that, you know, unfortunately, if I had that surgery a lot earlier, I would have a better posture. I'd have a lot of pain that is not within my body that I have to deal with on a daily basis.
And I understand that it's like, oh, I wish I could have done that sooner. But the thing is that the reason why you wish you had done it sooner is because you're still okay with this decision. Some people do it sooner and then they regret it. And we cannot use hindsight because everyone's opinion, because everyone's is going to be different, right? Minors just cannot make a decision. How is it okay for a child not to get a tattoo, but they know their gender? And of course they'll tell us that, oh, they are mature, they have so much information in their brains. Just because they remember more doesn't mean that they're more mature. You knowing more information makes you smart, not mature. The thing is that, for example, Sheldon Cooper, although he's an adult, he knows a lot of stuff. He knows quantum physics, so he is smart. But is he mature? Like the hell he is. He isn't. Now, Alexander, who's a non-binary person, we all know that he thinks that gender dysphoria is not only about genitals, it's also about what you wear and what you do.
Dysphoria, though, because gender dysphoria, or sex dysphoria, as I would rather call it, is an uncomfortability between my secondary sex characteristics, not just what I wear on a daily basis, because masculinity and femininity doesn't have anything to do with being trans.
But that's not true. But that is not true. You can have dysphoria without having to be dysphoric about your sex parts.
But what is your dysphoria?
You can have
What
dysphoria
is
about
your
anything.
dysphoria?
Straight cis women have dysphoria about their breasts all the time. They get breast augmentation.
It's not dysphoria.
That doesn't mean that I'm not dysphoric about certain things.
Yeah, another case of a man mansplaining to a woman what gender dysphoria is. And also, women get breast augmentation, gender dysphoria? You mean body dysmorphia. So basically that means that if you don't want to play basketball, and if you're a boy and you don't want to play basketball and you're super insecure about not playing basketball, that is grounds of transition. You are a boy who likes to wear dresses. Literally, all gay people did that. I did that. That's on the grounds of transition. Now, Blossom later on compliments Alexander and says how he, being a non-binary person, breaks gender norms.
A non-binary person stepping into this world and dismissing the gender norms of what people think a man and a woman is supposed to be like is so powerful.
I just find that super hard to believe because a femboy or a tomboy breaks gender norms. A non-binary person doesn't. In fact, a non-binary person maintains those gender norms. Alexander over here identifies as non-binary. To identify as non-binary because you don't fit a certain box, that is not breaking gender norms. In fact, you have maintained them because you're not breaking the box. You're just leaving the box. That's it. All in all, I'll say this. They had mostly nothing to say. Although the trans liberals, Blossom, Alexander's non-binary, and Shane, all three of them instigated Blair in the second prompt. Blair was just trying to defend herself, but also Blair instigated a little bit to Alexander when really they were all there for discussion. And the director was also biased, but I guess my blind ass couldn't pick that up. And basically, probably because of this director, it was highly edited to be very one-sided to make the liberals look good, and somehow they failed at that. It just probably goes to show you how the liberals, especially Blossom, looked absolutely terrible. Except with the exception of Sasha, he was fine. If they tried to edit Blossom to look the best she could
and she still looked the absolute worst. Can you imagine how she is in real life?
And of course, like I said, trans conservatives won that debate. They won that debate. They ate it up. They slayed. They butchered. Of course, all three of them, Blossom, Alexander, and Shane, all ran to their own podcast to share how terrible Blair is.
Out and let me make this very clear. Anything that I say here today is my personal opinion. As a Black trans woman, and so nobody can police that. And it was just like, yeah, you're not who I need to debate. And I am a firm believer as a debater, like you got to have somebody that can kind of match your thing where you're going head to head. And that's when really good debating and good discussion happens.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching my reaction video. I know this was an incomplete one because, like I said before, I was gonna watch through this entire thing, and I'm not about to sit down and like edit like 4 hours of shit into like an hour thing. And I'm just not like that. I can't be bothered. This editing has been going on for 5 days now, and also I have school, so it's just not gonna work. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm your host Maragar Geode, and I'll see you in the next video. 再见，拜拜。